Like everybody else, I've been spending a lot of time with Chat GPT, and I'm super impressed with its capabilities of aggregating knowledge and holding a conversation to uh, keep the context no matter how long the conversation is. And I was also trying to make Chat GPT write some Python programs to see how well it worked. So today I'm going to imagine that this tool is my virtual coworker, and we're going to try to create a program together. So I'm going to give the requirements, and ChatGPT is going to write the code, and if something is off, I'm going to try to provide feedback to make modifications. So it's a number problem. So imagine we have a list of 10 numbers that are an arithmetic progression. How many subsets can you create from that list that are also, or I should just say subsequences, can you create from that list that are also arithmetic progressions? Can you write a Python program? It's making certain statements, so let's evaluate that. So there are a total of 2 to the power 10 total possible subsequences. It's a 10-bit number. So that's right. However, not all of these will be arithmetic progressions. The number of subsequences that are also arithmetic progressions depends on the specific input list. I'm not really sure if that is true, because we mentioned that the input list is already an arithmetic progression. So you could reduce that into something that goes as 0, 0 plus increment, 0 plus 2 times increment, and it keeps on forever. So I don't really think the actual values of the arithmetic progression in the input actually matter. So let us ask ChatGPT about that. In general, the longer the subsequence, the more likely it is to be an arithmetic progression. Wow. This, I'm not really sure what it means by that. Here's an example Python program that takes a list of 10 numbers as input and prints all of the subsequences that are arithmetic progressions. So let us see. So given a list, it has a helper function that's gonna determine whether something is an arithmetic progression or not. So we are generating all of the combinations. So on a high level, this does look okay, but I'm just trying to think whether it's really necessary to generate all of the subsequences from this array. So I'm not trying to solve this problem all by myself. So I'm trying to consider that this tool here could be something that I can collaborate with. So let me discuss my thoughts here. I don't think we need to generate all possible subsequences. We can eliminate a lot of these subsequences because only the subsequences that are equally spaced can be arithmetic progressions. For example, I can't pick the first number, the third number, and the fourth number. I should either end the progression skipping every other number. Okay, so if I were to do this with a real coworker, I'd expect them to keep following this. So let's see how well Chat GPT could keep up with this discussion. So basically what we are proposing here is a fundamentally different approach where we don't really have to like check whether a subsequence is an arithmetic progression, but rather we have an understanding that only certain types of these subsequences can be an arithmetic progression based on the assumption that the input is already an arithmetic progression. So let's see how this goes. Okay, it does say you are correct that the specific values in the input list don't matter for determining the number of arithmetic progressions that can be formed. The common difference between terms in the progression is what determines. I don't quite agree with this statement because the specific numbers are not a problem because the common difference is also not a problem. That's because the common difference is always going to be a constant for each arithmetic progression. So to find the number of ways to make subsequences of each length that are arithmetic progression, you can use the following approach. Pick any two numbers from the input list and determine the common difference between them. For each length of the subsequence starting from 3, count the number of ways you can pick that many numbers from the input list such that the common difference. So I think it still has not understood that point that I was making, and we only have to like pick the indices that are separated the same way, and it doesn't seem to use that. So for the example, let's say the list is 1 through 10, common difference is 1. For a subsequence of length 3, you can pick the first 3 numbers, the second 3 numbers. Okay, there are 8 ways to pick a subsequence of length 3. So these are 8 of the subsequences that are of length 3, but not the only 8, because you can also pick numbers by skipping every other index, and again pick subsequences of length 3 by skipping every 2 numbers. For subsequence of length 4, you can pick the first 4 numbers, the second 4 numbers, and 7. Okay, we are getting somewhere. And so you can calculate the number of ways you can pick a subsequence of length n by subtracting n minus 2. So this would be true if we are only dealing with continuous subsequences. This by itself is actually pretty impressive that it has taken a completely different approach. Right? Just like I had suggested before, we are not really looking at checking whether a sequence is an arithmetic progression, but we are going off of the assumption that we could generate arithmetic progressions in a way by exploiting the fact that the input already has constant increments. So let's provide more details here. You only considered subsequences that are clue us there are more arithmetic progressions of length 3. So you can also have 1, 3, 5. So 2, 4, 6 generated by skipping. So in addition to the 8 arithmetic progressions that were of length 3, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 more. Include these in your calculations. Okay, you are correct. There are additional arithmetic progressions that can be found from the input list that are not contiguous, and that can be generated by skipping some numbers. So to include these additional arithmetic progressions in the calculations, you can modify the approach I described earlier. And you can also include the non-contiguous arithmetic progressions by iterating the input list. For each element, you can check the next element. The only problem I have here is that we know for a fact that if we keep skipping a constant number of positions, whatever we are gonna get is an arithmetic progression. So we don't really have to verify that. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, which is the total number of arithmetic progressions of length 3 that can be found from the input list. Can we print those 20? 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 3, 5. Okay. To do this, so I think we are almost there. Yeah, and I see that we are using the increment of the index by k. So the only problem I have here is that we don't really have to check for this condition, because we already know that the input is an arithmetic progression. So but I do think that the program works, but it's I don't think that check is necessary. I think this already works. That condition is unnecessary. You are correct. Since the input is an arithmetic progression, this must be each element for so much rows with multiple difference, so the check is not necessary. It can be removed in the function. The updated code with the check removed. This is amazing. Wow, and it even generated a sequence that is different from the 1 to 10. That wow, this is amazing. Just the number of subsequences. For one thing, the speed at which it's generating this code is something that can be super handy to work with. You can also use the property that for any subsequence of length n in arithmetic progression of length n is less than or equal to n by 2, so the number of subsequences will be. Okay, that is a lot for me to digest right now. Okay, I do think that I need to work that out to see what this means, but overall I think this has been a very productive exercise, and I didn't really have to actively code, and it did feel like I was working with somebody that's actually listening to everything that I say and uh, actively implements all of my suggestions. So this was definitely much more a much better experience than what I had originally expected. Can you print the actual value of the count? Okay, 126. I have no way to verify whether that is the right answer, but that is for some other day. Okay, that should be it for today. Have a nice day.